Thank you for joining the Scholar Trek panel on liberal arts colleges. We have 4 wonderful colleges participating in this panel. We have Georgia College and State University, the Evergreen State College, Illinois Wesleyan University, and Rollins College. Panelists, thank you so much for joining us. Viewers, following this panel, we highly encourage you to visit each of these colleges' virtual booths within Basecamp to learn more about their school and to get connected with their admissions team. And with that, let's get started. So I am going to pass this wonderful panel off for some introductions, and I'm going to start with the Evergreen State College.
Hello, everybody. My name is Carl Forbes. I use he and him pronouns. I'm the Associate Director of Admission at the Evergreen State College in beautiful Olympia, Washington. Our campus is located on over 1,000 acres of Pacific Northwestern rainforest. And there's a couple things that Evergreen is known for. Number one, students don't declare a major at all, ever. So you're free to pursue your passions and follow your interests and that kind of thing. And students generally take one class at a time, and we'll talk more about that at another time.
Perfect. And I'm going to pass it now off to Illinois Wesleyan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Starnes, and I am Director of Transfer and Regional Admission. I've been with Illinois Wesleyan now for almost 5 years. I am regionally based in East Tennessee and have the pleasure of working with students from Georgia and Florida. Illinois Wesleyan is located in Bloomington, Illinois, which is about 2 hours south of Chicago. And we have several awesome facts, but one that we love to highlight is for the last 2 years in a row, we have ranked to top 10 in job placement, according to government data. So we like to think that not only are we going to help you get a job, but a quality one, hopefully at that after you graduate.
Thanks, Andrew. And I'll pass it off to Georgia College and State University.
Thank you. My name is Javier Francisco, and I currently serve as the Interim Director of Admissions here at Georgia College. Georgia College is located in Milledgeville, Georgia, about an hour and a half, 2 hours outside of Atlanta, right in the center of the state. We're a residential university, 6,000 students. One of the things that we really kind of been recognized recently, which is I think a really unique fact, that we've been awarded the Council for Undergraduate Research recognized us as one of the top universities in the country providing undergraduate research opportunities to undergraduates. And that award is very unique and very competitive to get. And we recently were awarded that. And that's something exciting, that the things that we're doing at Georgia College are very exciting in regards to undergraduate research opportunities.
Thanks, Javier. And I'll pass it off to Rollins College to finish off our introductions.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here today. My name is Joy Harlan King. I'm one of the admission counselors from Rollins College. We're in sunny Orlando, Florida, but specifically in a little suburb called Winter Park, which is a really beautiful town. If you haven't been there before, highly recommend you go visit. And we're a school that's only 2,000 students, so we're super small. But something we're known for is actually having the #1 MBA program ranked in Florida. So that's something that we actually can feed some of our undergrad students into as sort of like a 3-2 style program. So that's one of our fun special programs I would like to mention. But yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Joy. And I'm going to have Illinois Wesleyan start us off for this question. Can you explain what a liberal arts education looks like on your campus and include a brief overview of the range of academic majors or programs that you offer that might be specific to your school?
Absolutely. So for us, we really cherish the heart and root of the liberal arts education. With our Gateway program, we want students coming in, whether they're going to be in a health science program for pre-med, pre-law, business, whatever it may be, we want them to have a well-rounded education in the fine arts, in the social sciences, in the sciences, secondary language. That's where we embrace the true heart and soul of the liberal arts education, which is a well-rounded education naturally. And for our school itself, with our majors, we typically on average have about 80 different major minor combinations and concentrations. Some of our biggest ones we highlight are our fine arts majors, bring in a lot of applications across the country, our business programs, and our STEM health science selections.
Perfect. And at Georgia College?
So at Georgia College, we are, the only public liberal arts university in the state of Georgia. And so we really try to provide that liberal arts experience in many ways. But the one way that we really do it really precise and really accurately is through our GC Journeys program, where we are really invested in providing transformative experiences to our students. And these experiences range everything from a first-year experience to a capstone for your major, to study abroad, internship, leadership, development, service opportunities, giving back to the community here locally in Milledgeville. So we feel that when we embrace all these activities, that it's going to provide students a very transformative learning. But one of the ones that we really push a lot with our students is undergraduate research opportunities. And that's something that we've done through all our 40 plus majors that we have at Georgia College. We have multiple concentrations. We have 4 colleges: College of Arts and Sciences, which has the most majors. We have the College of Business. We have the College of Health Sciences, and then the College of Education. And our popular majors are psychology, business, marketing, management. And we also have early childhood education and nursing, pretty professional tracks that are really popular for a lot of our students here at Georgia College.
Thanks, Javier. Enjoy at Rollins.
Yeah, so I don't want to be too repetitive like some of my other colleagues and sharing, the idea of liberal arts is really that well-rounded education. So that's kind of the base of it. But specifically at Rollins, I love our kind of unique take on liberal arts. We require that about 1/3 of our students' courses or curriculum are in these liberal arts designed courses that are going to be outside the student's major, kind of like fulfilling some gen ed requirements, but we do it in a more unique way. So rather than just telling our student, you need to go take a science and just pick out, let's say, like Bio 101. If they're not a science major, the options they have for that could be something like science of chocolate or science of superheroes. So the liberal arts courses have these really unique topics and designs that the students get exposed to the topics, but in a kind of a more fun and, of course, well-rounded and interdisciplinary way. So I just love those courses. I think they're super unique. And then when it comes to special programs, we have over 60 different majors and minors to choose from. But I would say our top ranked or most popular would be, of course, business, like I mentioned in the beginning. Any of our health sciences, so like biology, chemistry, marine biology, and pre-med, stuff like that. And then psychology as well.
Perfect. And at Evergreen?
Hi. So at Evergreen, we take the liberal arts literally. So that word liberal, which means freeing, we have freed students to be able to take the courses that they want to take. So a typical student, I told you before that we'd get back to this, takes one class at a time. And that one class is an interdisciplinary class. That means it has multiple subjects that's built in to one course. That means they're taking a full-time load. That means they're taking it for an entire quarter. We're on the quarter system here, 10 weeks, 16 hours, which is a full-time load, but it's one class. And they do different activities on different days, but they're also team taught. So they get a really immersive full-time experience. But because of the fact that each one of these classes puts multiple subjects in it, they're getting this liberal arts style education, but it's clearly the student's choice and how they take it. So it makes it a really unique experience that a student does at Evergreen. So that means students tailor their entire experience from the beginning to the end. They can put research in, they can even create their own class where they sit down with the faculty and create one of these courses, and then we'll do the work and get credit like that. They could write one course that can take them overseas and in a study abroad kind of situation. So really unique opportunities that are here at Evergreen that are a little bit different than what you'll find at some other traditional colleges.
And that is a perfect segue to our next question, which I'll have Georgia College kick us off with, which, what are some of the advantages of a liberal arts education? How does that impact a student in making post-secondary plans, whether it's in career placement, grad school, even just kind of their entire life as a whole and their trajectory?
Thank you, Melissa. I think, the liberal arts education, and I think all of us here will kind of attest to how transformative it could be when you're able to engage with your faculty, your peers in kind of a smaller environment. And so I feel, when you walk onto a liberal arts campus, most of your classes are going to be pretty small. Most of your classes are going to be, where you're kind of looked after by either your professors, by your classmates. You start kind of building these relationships. And I feel like at a liberal arts, you have that opportunity to really kind of build that really closely. And, you'll get that at any university, in general, but the ability that when you walk into a class as a freshman and you only have maybe 20, maybe 15 students, that's very transformative, I think, for any student, where they feel they can learn and they grow and evolve. And I think the ability how to write, how to think critically, how to problem solve, those are, I think, the advantages that I think liberal arts provides to students when they partake in that experience.
I think most of you will definitely echo everything that Javier just said, but I'll quickly go down the line. Joy, do you have anything that you want to add to that from Rollins' perspective or from your personal perspective as a liberal arts grad?
Yeah, I mean, I really second what Javier said, but just a quick add, it also helps you when you graduate because you're not just going to be your major, since you have all these classes and experiences from your campus life and living on campus and going through your different courses that are not related to your major. You're going to feel prepared and overall just well educated for whatever you decide to go off into, whether it's related to your major or not. So I always tell students that when employers are looking at your resume, they're not just seeing, oh, you're your major. Oh, they're seeing you went to a liberal arts college and you're going to be very adaptable with those critical thinking and problem solving skills. So that's the only thing I'd add. But, yeah.
Perfect. And Carl, what about at Evergreen? And I know you hit upon this actually quite nicely in your last response, but anything you wanted to add?
Just two things. We hear a lot about students learning how to think at a liberal arts college, but I think it goes a little bit broader than that. I think what we help students to think and problem solve, but they problem solve in real time when they're looking at real world issues through their education in the variety of courses that they take. So I think looking at that whole thing of thinking and problem solving real time is really important. And I think one of the other things that happens, and this might be a little bit more unique to Evergreen, is that students come out with a passion because of the fact that they created the thing themselves. They're more passionate about their education. I went to a liberal arts school, but when someone asked me what I studied, I say political science. And that's not very exciting to just throw that off. But when you ask a student at Evergreen what they studied, they talk about all the things they put into their education. It becomes a conversation. So that's really interesting about the liberal arts experience.
Perfect. And Andrew, any last bit that you want to add?
Well, I mean, just honestly, just echoing what everyone says, it's just very, very accurate, very true about what the advantages are from across the board that everyone kind of chimed in on. And I'll just say from my own personal experience on situations where I've been involved in interviews, it just seems like to me, the students that tend to do the better interviews come from those liberal arts universities or smaller scale university. It's like they get that experience and it truly does translate over into the opportunity of being able to distance yourself from the competition by having those skill sets when you go to interview, whether that be in a job or going on to a grad school.
Absolutely. And I'm going to have Joy start us off from Rollins for this next question. And really thinking about those students who, maybe they're thinking about those more traditional areas, kind of, Carl, that you hinted on, like a political science, but students who are looking to go very, more focused, whether it's business, engineering, nursing, for example, how does that correlate in a liberal arts education and how do they get prepared to go into those more professional tracks?
Yeah, so specifically at Rollins, we have every student assigned an advisor, as soon as they get to campus, and that advisor can stay the same over the 4 years, or students can switch specifically to one of their academic major, which is more common, but specifically for something like nursing or pre-health, we have that pre-med advisor that works with every single student of who's interested in that curriculum to help them get into a med school when they graduate. Same with pre-law, same with our business track. You know, with that MBA program, your advisor is the advisor of the MBA program and your undergrad experience in business, and etc. So the idea is that you're getting that one-on-one mentorship from that advisor pretty much over your 4 years to help you go off into those careers when you graduate, because they're going to help you during your time and after to help you get connections for jobs when you leave or grad school. And they're going to help you write your rec letters and help you with those applications, maybe even prep for, you know, whatever exam you need to take for those grad school programs. So all of that stuff. Yeah.
All extremely good points. And hopefully everybody who's listening is taking that to heart. Carla, Evergreen, how is this supported in the academics?
Well, first, I want to throw out something here. A lot of people don't realize that when you talk about liberal arts, science and math are liberal arts. A lot of times people will overlook a liberal arts school because they don't think they're going to get prepared for those professional careers. But liberal arts are a great foundation for students that are looking to go on to law school or med school or things like that. I will say at Evergreen, we don't have nursing. We can prepare students for a career in nursing, but we don't have nursing here. But for business, for students that are looking to get MBAs, thinking of going on to med school or law school, they get a fantastic liberal arts focus here. And then at the same time, they're also building their own personal interests along with their professional interests as they move along. But it's important to know that math and science are liberal arts.
That is a good thing to emphasize for everyone who's listening. Andrew, how about at Illinois Wesleyan?
Yeah, so very, very similar to many responses already, you know, just awesome faculty and advisors that will work with each student in their field whenever they're entering. We don't make a student declare a major until the end of sophomore year and still keep them on that 4-year graduation track. So we want them to be open-minded, looking around to make sure they're getting the right fit in their choice of major. And then we have some specialized programs and pre-professionals that naturally have to have students go out, do shadowing, externship in their program, so they're getting real world experience to go along, not only with their degree and letters of recommendation, just to make them that much more prepared along with the graduate entrance exams. But one thing, just the true nature of the fine arts that's really exciting is we have several programs that allow students to still complete traditional programs like business, like nursing, but still enhance on things that are passionate to them in the fine arts. For example, like for a student that wants to go into business and has a passion for a violin or singing, we have specialized programs to allow them to get those professional music lessons and not have to actually major in music. So it gives them the opportunity to home in on their full spectrum of learning, along with theater and art options as well too.
Perfect. And Javier, I know you have a lot to say for Georgia College and State University, because this is an area you guys definitely excel in.
Yeah, you know, Georgia College has probably the #1 nursing program in the state of Georgia. It's highly ranked. So we really invested a lot in developing some of our pre-professional and professional track programs. You know, a lot of people always, when they see the liberal arts at a college fair, they usually walk away because they think we're either arts, music, you know, they think political, they think, you know, they kind of walk away. A lot of students kind of shut us out or shut a lot of our liberal arts institutions because they kind of have these biases. And so we try to explain to students that at Georgia College, you know, we really invest in making sure that you get those clinical hours. Like in nursing, every student has to complete a certain number of clinical hours. If you want to be an educator, you're going to be in the classroom. If you're going to be a marketing major, you're going to produce a portfolio at the end of this whole process so you can show people that you have actually applied real knowledge in producing something that shows you that you have a skill set. And I think that's the goal of our institution, is to help our students develop skill sets that make them stand out from the crowd. You know, because everybody has an education major, everybody has a marketing major, but how do you stand out? And I think choosing going liberal arts in general, I think really helps you stand out, whatever the area that you're interested in. And I think we do a really great job in building those skill sets, that tool belt that we talk about, that every student should kind of attain while in college when they leave here, whatever that goal is, med school, law school, MBA, whatever it is, you know, we hopefully can help you get there.
Absolutely. I will have Evergreen start for this next question, but what type of resources are available on campus to ensure a student's academic success? The transition can be hard for students to college in general, let alone trying to figure out that academic major and the career path that they're looking to go down.
Well, as a place where students don't declare a major, there's a little bit less stress in terms of making that large decision, but there's a little bit of stress that's involved in what do I take next and what do I do now and things like that. So we have an office called Inclusive Excellence in Student Success, and it's a wraparound advising model. So in that office, you're going to see your academic advisors that are professional advisors, both academic and career advisors. You're going to see your study abroad advisors and your access services advisors. So if a student has a learning challenge and things like that, they could actually go there in that same office where everyone else is going to get their advising and get counseling as well. And that person, by the way, since we're talking about, or since I mentioned access services, that person becomes an advocate between the student and their faculty to make sure they can get accommodations while they're on campus. So we've got that going. Student study abroad is a fantastic example of a resource where students can sit down and get some advising on that so they can plan it and put it into their education. A lot of people think about study abroad and they think about it as a junior year or a senior year activity, but if they go to that office in the junior year or senior year, it's a little bit too late. So having all those resources in one place makes it so the students can actually actively plan to have all those different activities as part of their experience. One other thing that I'll mention is that we also have a student wellness office, and that student wellness office here on campus not only looks at a student's physical well-being, I have a headache, I have a cold, but they also look at their mental well-being. So mental health is taken very seriously here. Students can go there if they're having frustration or anxiety or depression issues to kind of work those things out so they can get back to class and be academically successful. So that goes on too. And we also have a care team advising thing where if people notice that students are a little bit different or off, we can actually make a referral so that the student wellness office can follow up with students and see if they can get to the root of the matter. So a lot of folks around trying to make sure the students are going to be both academically and emotionally successful here.
Perfect. And Andrew at Illinois Wesleyan?
Yeah, so just would love to highlight, we have an amazing writing center in our main library. The Ames Library is beautiful, tons of resources, and the writing center is so popular for our students. I think we can all agree writing and papers, research, that's such a key part to almost every degree you go into. And so if we have students that naturally get in and maybe they weren't as prepared as they thought, or were having difficulties transitioning to that, it is a free service, free printing, amazing team of dedicated students and faculty that are there around all the time during the week to be able to help our students and make sure they're getting the support they need. Obviously mentioning, of course, too, goes without saying, tons of other resources on campus naturally as well from our faculty, especially with just the small student teacher ratio that we have, to be able to have those access outside of classroom availability to help students when they might need that as well too.
Great. And Javier, how about at Georgia College and State University?
Being in this profession for such a long time, 16 years I've been doing this. I always hear about students' struggles with getting access to resources or being able to schedule a meeting with an advisor at larger universities. And we're talking about schools that have maybe 20 to 50,000 students. Those are the kind of challenges that some students encounter when they choose to go to a larger university. So at Georgia College, and I think all of us here in this panel, one thing that we have all in common is that, that we allow students to be able to connect with these resources easily. You want to meet with an advisor, you could just go in there, walk in there and meet with an advisor. And it's really easy. And I think, something that I think students should be thinking about, these resources are so important for student success. And so at Georgia College, we know we have a tutoring center, writing center, we have a math lab, we have supplemental instruction for some of our STEM courses. We have academic advisors available all year, access, we have a counseling service center. So, those are all the resources that we have. But I think my advice for the students here that are watching this is, look at all the resources, and then ask, how easy is for me to set up an appointment with counseling? Do I need to wait 5 weeks before I can meet to somebody, or can I just walk in there and have a meeting right away and be able to kind of address some of my needs? But that's kind of what I wanted to share with Georgia College.
That is a very valuable point. I think a huge perk for attending a campus that doesn't have 20 or 30,000 students in it. Joy, do you want to wrap us up with this question for Rollins?
Yeah, definitely. And I don't want to, again, repeat too much of what my colleagues said, because I echo everything that you said, all those amazing resources like free tutoring writing center, mental health and physical well-being resources at our wellness center, et cetera, et cetera. One thing I'll mention that's a little unique that we do is during that first year for freshmen, we assign them 2 peer mentors in this first year course that they take. So it's older students that are really well trained on how to help freshmen adjust to campus life. And I know that sounds, odd for academic success, but your academic success actually depends on your mental well-being and adjusting to campus as well. So having those older students as a resource there for you, in case you're too nervous to go talk to your actual advisor about how that transition is going for you, you have another peer who's there for you as well. So those, personally from my experience, those peer mentors really helped me adjust. And I know that they help most of our students adjust as well during that first semester. And also I was able to be a peer mentor, and it's such a rewarding experience as well to give back to those freshmen. So that's a really great resource that we have.
Definitely. We're going to start this next question off with Illinois Wesleyan, and you all have hinted upon this in some of your responses, but I'm excited to be able to share it a little bit more in depth, about the different experiential learning that happens on your campuses, emphasize any special programs that you may have, just so students can see what happens outside of the classroom for your students.
Yes, definitely one that we love to highlight for sure. And as with many things on here, you could talk about so many. There's 2 quickly I'll highlight. Number 1, we have what's called the ARC, the Action Research Center. It's devoted solely towards community service, campus involvement for building up on volunteer hours and activism opportunities as well. So students that have that spirit at heart that want to be able to get back, they come in and they're like, oh, I'm in a completely new area. Where do I start? We have tons of connections there, so that way students can find ways to get back, or if they're in something that requires those community service hours or volunteer hours, good way to be able to connect them with something that not only would help change some lives in the community, but also even hopefully home in an area that they have a passion for in general. And then of course, with our study abroad program, even though we're a smaller liberal arts university, tons of study abroad. Usually our students are about 70 different countries on average around the year, especially now that a lot of COVID travel restrictions are finally lifted. And one that we like to highlight is a full expense paid opportunity for a study abroad in Southeast Asia for an internship. All majors are open to apply for it. And if students are selected, they would get that grant funded opportunity to do either junior or senior year. That's very popular.
That is a tremendous opportunity. So often we hear from students who are worried about the financial aspect of studying abroad and landing internships. So that's a good one to know. I'm going to keep that in my own arsenal of information to share with students, Andrew. Javier, at Georgia College, we want to hear more about that GC Journeys program for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, our GC Journeys is kind of a hallmark program. And so that consists of we want our students to partake in 5 experiences. 3 of them are kind of ingrained into the curriculum. First year experience, career planning milestones, which is basically we start kind of nudging students with completing certain tasks towards career planning beginning freshman year. Simple things like build a resume. Let's kind of talk about internships. Let's talk about summer plans. And little by little, by the time you complete about 10 to 12 of these experiences, you've done a lot towards planning a career. Then the capstone, which is related to the major project. And then the other ones that we do is the internship, study abroad. We do the undergraduate research opportunities. And that's really where I think we really shine the most, is that we offer undergraduate research at every aspect and every major, and it's very different from major to major, because a lot of students think research is science, math related. But we have research opportunities in mass comm. We have research opportunities as a exercise science major. So, but that's really where we shine the most, is where you get to engage in that opportunity. So I'll give you an example real quick. I have a freshman right now who's doing research with millipedes, and he's a biology major, and he's been already kind of working in a research lab with his professor, doing research. That's something that he finds intriguing, which is millipedes. And I found out that they're insects and not bugs. There's a difference I learned recently, but those are the kind of things that you learn. And I think when you do research as an undergraduate, you're kind of contributing more to that discourse, that area of study, and you'll have an opportunity to present this research, get published, and that's really exciting as a student and undergraduate, that you have a published paper, or that you're presenting at a conference with people who are either getting masters or PhDs, and you're there with them as an expert. And I think that's what I think we kind of highlight. It makes us a little bit different here in Georgia.
Thanks, Javi. And we'll definitely touch on research a little bit more in a couple questions. So we definitely want that to be covered as thoroughly as possible, because we know that's a hot topic for students. Joy, how about at Rollins?
Yeah, I would say experiential learning is kind of the base of our curriculum. So pretty much every student of every major is doing some sort of experiential learning opportunity, whether it be hands-on lab courses, going out into the community and doing field trips during class time. But something pretty unique is our community engagement courses. So these are actually where, built into that class time, you are taking what you're learning during class and putting it to good use and service in the Winter Park community. So let's say you have a class Monday, Wednesday, Friday. On that Friday, you might be going and working at a local nursing home and actually helping dementia and Alzheimer patients make memory books. Or another example is studying how theater and the arts could better the communication skills of adults with autism. And so on that Friday, you might go and work with adults with autism and help them put on a production of Lion King by the end of the semester. I'm just naming a few examples of those courses, but they're really rewarding. And they, of course, go towards credit for your major or for just an elective course you want to take. But we have lots of those where you're actually getting to provide service to the community as built into that class time.
I absolutely love that. Oh, I want to read more about those courses. Carl, do you want to finish us off with this question for Evergreen?
Sure. Experiential learning actually happens in every class at Evergreen, because if you think about it, if you're in one class and that's 16 hours a week, if that was all lecture, it would be dreadful, right? So some days are lecture days. Some days are seminar days where you're actually going through and reading the material, and then the students are leading the conversation and the faculty kind of take a backseat. Some days are going to be the experiential days where if you're a science student, you're taking lab. If you're an art student, you're in the studio. If you're in a liberal art, if you're in social sciences, you might be doing field trips those days. And the cool thing is, because you're only taking one class, if there's a field trip, there's no faculty to ask for permission. You just get on the bus and go. So that's kind of cool too. We have a center on campus for students who want to do more outside of campus. Outside of what's going on right here, called the Center for Community-Based Learning and Action. And in that particular one, students can go through and do activism, and they can do community service and things like that. And sometimes earn credit for it. Sometimes it's volunteer work. Sometimes they can even get a job at it and earn money. So that's cool too. I wanted to throw out study abroad really quickly, because Evergreen has a pretty unique experience where there are several courses that start in Olympia, Washington, and then end in another country. To give you an example of that, there's a course that's looking at the border crossing problem. So if you're looking at the border crossing problem, of course, what country are you going to go to? No, not Mexico. You're going to go to Morocco. Why? Because they have the same problem in Morocco that we have here in the United States. So, a lot of people focus on our border here in the United States, but why look there when you can look somewhere else and see what solutions are happening around the world, and then bring those ideas back and start to apply those things that you learn there here. So we have things like that are going on, courses that take you to Asia, to Europe, to Africa, to South America. So it's really cool that you can start your course right here, build up a friend group of people that you know, and then travel off on that international experience. And we have other ways to do study abroad too, but I think that's really unique and cool that Evergreen has.
That is definitely a unique approach. And that was a really great example to share with everyone. We're going to start with Georgia College for this next question. And so what special facilities are available on your campus for students, whether that's certain labs, maker spaces, different project spaces that you think are a little bit more unique to your school?
Well, thank you, Melissa. Yeah, we just recently opened up a new integrated science building. And it's one of our newest buildings. We haven't built a new building on our campus over 30 years. We've renovated a lot of our buildings, and because if you've ever been on our campus, we're a historical campus, and so we're allowed only to renovate and upgrade. But we were able to build a new building from the ground up, and then so this space here is kind of a glass building, and then in the inside of the middle of the building are laboratories for science research. So you got the top floor is chemistry, and then the last two floors are biology, and then so students. About 20 students per lab could engage in laboratory research in the STEM field. So, which is pretty exciting. And it's a beautiful building, and it's right on the corner of campus. So, if you're a STEM major, you need to be looking at Georgia College for a STEM degree with us. Some of our other facilities, we have a nursing facility that's very unique in the state too. That's a simulated nursing facility, so students could actually simulate the experience of being and working in that real hospital. And so all nursing majors during their junior year, they partake in that simulation lab so they could get that real world experience. And then we also have a maker lab. We call it the Fab Lab, where students in art, in marketing, and then graphic design can also make cups, print T-shirts, make posters. So pretty cool. So we have a little bit of everything, but those are the three things that I feel like kind of makes us a little bit stand out when it comes to our facilities for learning.
Perfect. And Joy, what about at Rollins?
I would say our most unique facility on campus is something called our Social Innovation Hub. So this kind of partners with one of our also unique minors called Social Innovation, which a lot of people end up choosing Rollins or looking into Rollins because of this minor. But the idea behind it is really trying to find creative and unique solutions or even sustainable solutions to the world's biggest problems. Sounds easy, right? But the idea behind this hub is that the students have these very open spaces and open classroom designs, almost the way you would see like Google offices if you look up images online, so that they can really brainstorm and spend these periods or these class times actually brainstorming and innovating together and really having this open space to do so. So I just think it's a really unique facility, and it's right in the heart of our campus. It opened about 2 years ago, and it's definitely something that I would recommend checking out if you get to tour campus.
Thanks, Joy. And Carl, how about at Evergreen?
At Evergreen, there are a few things that there are a few things that we have that a lot of places don't have, but I want to really highlight our Indigenous Arts Center. Our Indigenous Arts Center is an area, let me start with that. We acknowledge the fact that we are on land that was traditionally held by the Coast Salish people, Native Americans that were here that lost that land as part of the Medicine Creek Treaty of 1854. So instead of just doing land acknowledgements, we've made a commitment that we're going to preserve the art and the culture of the people that were here. So we have an Indigenous Arts Campus that right now consists of 4 buildings. It is a longhouse, the first longhouse ever built on a college campus. There is a weaving studio, and then there's also a carving studio that consists of 2 buildings. So in that, students get to learn about the traditional people that were here on this land, what their culture is, what their art looks like, what their art is. They get to participate in that. They get to create it. They get to create art from the way it was done traditionally to the way it's done today. So there's actually a color garden where they mix their own paint so they can paint the things that they weave and that they create. So there's that commitment there. We also have the flags of all of the recognized tribes hanging in that longhouse. It's a center of welcome and belonging where students can come and and experience something that they've never experienced before. And that's been that's been a big pleasure for me. Another thing that I'll just highlight are some of our art spaces. Art is a really big thing. It's the second most popular thing that people study here at Evergreen. The most popular being environmental studies, because we're located on over 1,000 acres of Pacific Northwestern rainforest. So of course that's their classroom. But art is really big here, and we have a ceramic studio. We have drawing studios, we have painting studios, but we also have wood carving and wood shop studio. This is a separate one, not the one that's on the Indigenous Arts Campus, but in the art complex, we have a wood shop. We have metal shop, so they learn welding and things like that. We have a jewelry shop. We have a neon shop. We have photography. We have animation studios where they can do two-dimensional and three-dimensional animation, and then they also have movie making, so they can go through. We have television studios and radio stations and a music production lab, so students who are music students can come here and leave with an album, I think, which is pretty cool. Do they even call them albums anymore?
I'm not sure. We might need to poll the audience for that one. Well, Andrew, you kind of have some big shoes to fill, but I know you will. Tell us a little bit about some of the facilities at Illinois Wesleyan.
Yeah, so one that I love to highlight is our last major building that was built, State Farm Hall, and it is designed with our students in mind. So they actually help contribute to what they wanted to be built into the area. So it houses most of our business degrees and centers, but also there's a large area of computer labs and also study labs in it that, again, like everything from the chairs to the table to the screens, it's all designed that way. It's actually got a moving stock ticker and news ticker that goes along the ceiling, just like you would see like in Times Square or something. It's pretty cool. And they actually got a generous donation of $100,000 a few years ago, specifically for our business students, particularly like econ and finance. And that was actually money that was supposed to be used in real trading and investments. And since that time, our students have actually turned that into over $1 million. So that's where it's at right now. And they are still able to continue to use that. So that way they get real world investing and tip advice with money that they don't have to fear losing of their own personal investment.
So we're all going to be coming to Illinois Wesleyan to give us investment advice. So get ready. We'll be coming for you. Coming back to the topic of research, Joy, you'll kick us off for this for Rollins. What are some of the undergraduate opportunities for research, and at what point can students get involved? Are there any kind of specific opportunities or research projects that you have heard of that you would want to share?
Yeah, so many. And I know one of my other colleagues here today mentioned having research for any student of any major, and at Rollins it's the same idea. So all students have to do is start getting in touch with their faculty as early as first year on campus to start talking to them about the faculty's research opportunities, because we actually have a student to faculty research collaboration program where students can actually work alongside the faculty on their basically graduate level research, but at the undergrad level. So they can be a co-publisher or even one of the co-researchers alongside that faculty to be published, which is great. And a lot of times the students will stay on campus for the summers to conduct research with that faculty and actually get paid for that opportunity. So that's a great job that they can have during the summers as well. They also can do their own designed research project, typically in their senior year. We kind of describe it as like a senior year research project, like a thesis. And a lot of the students that do that get their works published as well. Some examples that I can think of is there was a student who really wanted to, she was a theater major, and she really wanted to research 1920s murder mystery and detective formats. And so she did this research for a summer. And then that following fall, all of her research was utilized to put on this full-length 2-hour improvised play, all based around her research. So every night of this play was completely different because it was like a whodunit style, and there was always a different character who was the whodunit because it was improvised. So it was really unique, really cool research. And I also like to mention there's one of our tour guides right now, because I manage the tour guides. He's very, very passionate about his astroplanetary research. Don't ask me what it's about. All I know is he's always talking about doing it alongside one of our physics professors, and he's very passionate about it. So that's just two examples that I can think of, but every student of any major can get involved in research.
Perfect. And at Evergreen?
Yeah, I'll highlight a couple of things. First of all, students, I'll highlight three things. First of all, students can get involved in research at any point. There was a student actually from Georgia who came to Evergreen this year. She's a first-year student. She's only been here a couple of months, and she's already doing one-on-one faculty research with the faculty on anti-Semitism. So, you know, hit the ground running, saw her a month ago. And she said, hey, by the way, I'm doing this research. And I was like, what? You just got here 2 weeks ago kind of thing. So it's really exciting that students can get involved in research. You know, they can hit the ground running when they get to campus if they connect with a faculty that's doing some interesting things. But we also have a summer undergraduate research fellowship, or SURF, because everyone likes acronyms. But what happens is they'll have we have a large like seminar where students can attend, find out what faculty are working on, and then join up with the faculty. Remember, since students don't declare a major, there's a lot more freedom here at Evergreen where they can go through and study the different things that they want. And some of those research fellowships that they do over the summer can take them abroad. We had students looking in on the families of coffee growers in Colombia, and so they weren't really focused on the coffee grower themselves, the coffee growers themselves, but their families and the communities that they went back to. So they were looking at that and the sociology of that. So it was more of a sociology kind of research kind of thing. So they're really cool stuff. We have some students right now in computer science working on some I guess you would call it chat featuring or chat stuff for people in prisons, because you know, we have a lot of prisons here in the state of Washington. So there's a lot of focus on prison justice and that kind of thing. So they're looking at how prisoners can chat with people outside, you know, like their families and things like that. So they're looking at how that can be done. And so that's a really interesting computer science project that's being done right now. And I got the chance, they have a big expo right in the beginning of the fall where all the students come out and they kind of highlight their SURF research that they did over the summer. So those were a couple of things that were out there. So I'll just leave it at that. Those are a couple of things that people can do.
Thanks, Carl. And Andrew at Illinois Wesleyan?
Yes, so definitely want to highlight the fact makes us a little bit unique is that we are an undergrad only school. So we have no grad students at our institution, which isn't the norm for a lot. So that opens up the door for a lot of graduate level research opportunities at the undergrad level for our students for that reason. So it's very practical for students, as many our colleagues have already said on here, to get a direct collaboration in research, going to conferences, just even publication opportunities in research papers for our students to have with their faculty members. And that just makes it so exciting and really just benefits everyone, but in particular students that already know they want to go on to a grad school, because nothing is going to look better on grad school than that real world collaboration opportunities that our students are getting daily. I mentioned all the time, similar to what we just heard, that a young lady came in a few years ago, super interested in viruses and how they work. She was a pre-med student. It happened to be one of our main faculty members at that time. That was one of his lead research opportunities. And he pretty much just said, hey, if you want copies of everything I'm doing and want to get involved, do it. And that was day one. And obviously we know not every student's going to be that ambitious, nor do we want to overwhelm anyone and suggest that's what they have to do. But for those overachiever students that really want to have that hunger to learn, that's such a great opportunity that they can get across the board.
Thanks, Andrew. And Javier, I know you talked actually about a great example of research on Georgia College's campus. Do you have anything else you want to add on this subject?
Yeah, I wanted to just add, encourage the students that are listening and families and parents that are here. I think, don't be afraid to do undergraduate research when you go to college. And if you do go to liberal arts school, as you've noticed, the opportunities are a lot. You just have to ask. And I'll give you another example. One of my favorite ones. I have a student. He's one of my ambassadors, and his name is Jarrett. And he was telling me that he, for his computer science class, introduction to computer science class, he had to develop a game. And so he developed a memory game, programmed it and everything for people that have Alzheimer's. And so like to help people, recall memories. And his professor was so impressed by him that he took him to a conference to DC this past couple weeks ago. He went to DC and was part of a big conference over there for computer science. And so, and that's just an example of how our institutions here, the ones that are present here, that we want to kind of allow you to become an expert. And I think that's the reason that you want to do undergraduate research, is to become an expert, to feel confident that you're pursuing something that you're passionate about, and that you feel like you're contributing something to that field, and that people are going to recognize you for your expertise. And if you go on to get that PhD or that master's degree, you're going to have those skill sets that many students at larger universities probably don't even get access to. And that's, I think, what all of us here are emphasizing, that even as a freshman, you can walk in, ask your professor, hey, I'm interested in that. How can I help? How can I get involved? And I think that's the beauty about being at a liberal arts university.
So moral of the story, viewers, is that if you are passionate about doing research in your undergrad, it actually might be the easiest to go to a liberal arts college to start early and to get that in-depth experience. So definitely take advantage of that. To be sensitive to time, we're going to speed through a couple of these questions so that you all have time to share a little bit more about how students can learn more about your campuses and how to visit. But starting with Evergreen, what type of career services and or graduate school guidance does your institution offer? How do you assist students overall with their post-secondary plans?
Sure. Well, our advisors are academic and career advisors. So as students are going through and making their programs, the advisors are asking them, okay, and where are we going with that? What are we doing with that? So they start having those conversations about where these courses are going to lead early on in their career. And some of the companies that recruit at Evergreen are, big tech companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft. Big farm, big agriculture, and also we have a lot of state agencies that recruit here, because a lot of our students do environmental work, and so with Washington being the state it is, a lot of environmental opportunities.
Perfect. And how about at Illinois Wesleyan?
Yes, so I mentioned at the very beginning about the fun fact about job placement being in the top 10 among all schools and universities at IWU. I can't say enough about our Heart Career Center. They do a tremendous job of helping coordinate internship opportunities for our students. In the past class, over 75% of our students actually did at least one internship through their time. Many do at least 2 or 3. So that is one step. The other one is that we have such a robust Illinois Wesleyan alumni network across the country and the globe that stay in touch with our Career Center, and they seek out our recent grads because they know the type of student that we're bringing into the campus and the type of student that we are making and growing on our campus with our culture from the liberal arts perspective, all the way through what students can do to break through in their college experience. So I can't stress enough for what our Career Center does to really get our students prepped to go on to the next steps in their life after school.
Perfect. And how about at Georgia College?
Well, I mentioned before the career milestones, GC experience, GC journeys. We basically have rethought how career advising happens. And when I was in college many years ago, I went to the Career Center during my senior year, towards the end of the whole journey. I went there March. I was graduating in May, and I sat down and said, "Hey, I'm about to graduate," and you kind of start having these conversations kind of late. At Georgia College, we start freshman year and do it little by little as we do these little nudges. And then so we feel like, we have these counselors in the Career Center that are specifically just focused on counseling career-wise, and they just help you kind of navigate through this process and come up with the action plan. So I think, again, all the resources, all these schools here, we have tons of resources. You just have to ask, and we'll give you access and where to direct you to where those opportunities lay.
Thanks, Javier. And how about at Rollins?
Yeah, so there's so many I could list off, and I'm not going to take too much time. Resume cover letter workshops, mock interviews, having platforms to find access to jobs and internship opportunities. But a really quick, unique program that we have is our alumni mentorship program. So this is where our students can get in contact with one of our alum of the school to have them mentor them for a whole semester. And that's, of course, great for them building connections, finding jobs and internships when they graduate, etc. So I don't want to take up too much time, but lots of opportunities.
Thanks, Joy. And we're going to combine these next few questions kind of into one to finish us off for this wonderful panel. So how can students, of course, outside of visiting your virtual college fair booth, go and learn a little bit more about your school, whether it's virtually, in person? And is there anything that you want to share that's very specific to your individual admissions process that students need to be aware of so that they are viewed in the best light in the admissions review process? And we'll start with Illinois Wesleyan for this question.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can't stress enough, if you've got interest in a school, find a way to visit, at the very minimum virtual. I mean, that's the beauty of what we've been able to accomplish through the virtual world the last couple of years, is to be able to open up more opportunities for students to see a school without actually stepping foot on campus. Obviously, it'll never beat the full experience. So if you can visit, whether it be an open house or an individual visit, please do so. We offer those all yearly, including admitted student days, for our students to come in and have an even more in-depth experience at our school. So we do offer in-person visits daily, open houses, admitted student days, and virtual visits all throughout the year. So very easy to sign up on our admission page. And then in terms of what we're looking for prospective students, obviously, like many schools, we want to take a look at merit and different things like that. We are test optional, of course, but we want to see so much more outside of that. Our motto is be breakthrough. We love seeing students that want to grasp the full college experience, already being involved in community service, activism projects, athletics. Those are all important, but even demonstrated interest. You'll hear that term a lot. I love seeing students that I've met college fairs, have visited campus. When you see they apply and they add that to their personal statement or their essay in explaining like why they want to go to the school, it really helps move them up on the list of students that I'm reviewing, because I know this is truly a vested student and super interested in the school. And I love being able to make those connections. So that way, when I follow up, I'm like, it's so awesome to see you applied. I love talking to you at that college fair back in the fall or last spring or something like that. And I think that resonates so well.
Definitely. And Javier, how about at Georgia College and State University?
What we do, we have a holistic review process at Georgia College, and we really look at a student that really wants to take part of that liberal arts experience. We want students that want to grow, that want to be great, that have potential for success. And not every student is a 4.0. Not every student is class president of their senior class. We want to find that student that wants to partake in this experience and grow. And if you're one of those students that's 4.0 and class president, when you're even going to become, you're going to develop even more skill sets. And so, we want to just find a student that expresses that interest. And I think all of us here, since we're kind of we recruited such a small class, we only try to enroll 1,500 students, we're able to build these relationships with our students. So I always encourage students, reach out to your admissions counselor, get to know them, and let them know that you're really interested in what they're providing, and then they're going to provide you the best guidance, so you could kind of get a true sense of what that institution can offer you to be successful.
Thanks, Javier. And how about at Rollins?
I really second what Andrew said when it comes to making sure to visit campus. So any campus or school or university that you're looking at, make sure to visit, do a tour, see if you fit in with not just the academics, but the students and the culture and the environment, all of it. So for Rollins, we offer daily tours, 10 a.m., 2 p.m., Monday through Friday. We offer some Saturdays as well. You can find all of these on our website. We do big open houses as well as admitted student days, especially in the spring. So make sure to look for those if you are an accepted student and watching this. And then we offer virtual stuff as well. So virtual tours, virtual one-on-one chats. And what we're looking for is really leadership, involvement, demonstrated interest, just like Andrew said as well. We really, really want to see that you're excited about Rollins and that you maybe have visited or chatted with us, because it makes, I'm sure all of us can say this too, but it makes us so happy when we see your name pop up on our inbox to read your application, because we love the personal connection as a liberal arts college. So I get so excited to read the application of the students that I met at a high school and I met at a college fair, and they've emailed me and all of that stuff. So that always stands out as an applicant as well.
Perfect. And last but not least, Carl at Evergreen.
Thank you. So like my colleagues have shared, there's a lot of opportunities to connect with us. I think if there's anything good that came out of COVID-19 and all that other stuff, is the virtual opportunities that you can use to visit colleges, universities now. So, we're all the way on the other side of the country. Take advantage of that opportunity to come visit us virtually. But, we're also one flight away. Delta comes directly to Washington. You can also come visit. We're committed to access. We're a public institution. It's a liberal arts, just like Georgia College. And there's, I think, 27 more of us around the country committed to student access. We want students to committed to this. It's the student access. We want students to come here. There is no mystique about the admission process at Evergreen. We have automatic admissions if you have a 2.75 GPA and you're coming in with a reasonable test score and that kind of thing. But we also have test optional admissions, and we have test blind admissions too. So that's going. We're just required to ask for scores because that we're Washington State school, but we actually don't use them in the decision. We're looking at the courses that you've taken and the grades that you've earned and the experiences that you've done in your high school. So that is that. I will also say that when we're looking for prospective students, we're looking for students all over the board. But if you have a passion project, this is a great place to come with that. If you have that passion project, because not only can you bring it right here with you, but you also can create your own courses to follow along. We have students that graduate as published authors and things like that. That started that when they were in middle school, and then they were able to bring it to fruition here at Evergreen. So bring those passion projects with you. And like everyone else said, I enjoy meeting students at college fairs. I love it when their applications come through. They reach out to me and it becomes very personal, and they even come back to visit me when they get here, which is also fun too.
Well, thank you so much, panelists, for sharing all of that extremely valuable information. Hopefully everybody is going to be quickly going over to your virtual booths to connect and learn a little bit more. For the viewers, we encourage you to take advantage of the other college panels, the workshops, the virtual booths found within Basecamp. But thank you from all of us at Scholar Trek for tuning in, and thank you again, panelists.